In this video, we're going into detail on Enlightened Equipment sleeping bags. Enlightened Equipment sleeping bags from the past and present, and we're going to compare the two. I'm going to go over pros and cons, and by the end of the video, you'll have a pretty good idea of what's changed over time with Enlightened Equipment and what we've lost, but what we've gained in the modern sleeping bags. So to start, I'm going to look at the older sleeping bag. The things that you'll see with the older sleeping bags first is that there's more clips on the bottom. What this means is it extends the foot box and makes it so it's harder for there to be drafts on the lower half of your body. I really like this. The second thing that it has is it has different fabric on the top of the sleeping bag and on the foot box. I believe that this is waterproof fabric, and in the early days, Enlightened Equipment would use these two fabrics so that the condensation that's coming out of your mouth and the condensation that's on your tent that you would rub your foot box on wouldn't get into the sleeping bags. This is really cool. I think that the only company that's still doing this is Nunatac. The middle part is just classic 10D. And so the pros are all of these new features. The con, unfortunately, is I think it was something like 6 years ago, Enlightened Equipment started getting a lot of complaints that their sleeping bags weren't that warm. And what we discovered is that they weren't putting as much down into their sleeping bags. And so they changed in modern times to putting more down in their sleeping bags. The sleeping bag that I use is their modern Enigma with 7D fabric on the inside and 7D fabric on the outside. Enlightened Equipment no longer has the the multiple fabrics that they used to on their sleeping bags, but now they are putting in the same amount of down and therefore loft as the other leading sleeping bag companies. What I really like about Enlightened Equipment in general, and certainly on their modern bags, is that there's not a lot of over engineering. It's just simply a quilt. It works. And they use the right fabrics, which is 7D. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I love 7D. For me, ultralight isn't just about getting light, it's also about minimalism and simplicity. And some of the other companies, they do all of this extra sewing to create this like complicated folding system for their sleeping bags. And Enlightened Equipment with all of their stuff is just like, we're gonna make it simple, we're gonna make it work, we're gonna use the best fabrics, and they're certainly doing that on their modern bags. My bag doesn't have as many clips on it as the older bags, and you can't get them with those clips anymore, and those were nice, but I'm willing to sacrifice the clips for the correct amount of down and therefore the correct amount of loft. So something that you should pay attention to if you're getting a super ultralight Enlightened Equipment bag is that the 7D soaks up moisture pretty well, and you can dry it off during the day, but when you wake up you might be surprised, wow, my sleeping bag looks really wet. But that's okay. So this is just a short little video that I wanted to make because I ran into someone on the Pacific Crest Trail that had an older Enlightened Equipment bag, so I thought it was very interesting that they've changed some of the things. They've stopped doing some of the more sort of complicated, involved stuff, but then they also fixed their loft problem, which is really great. So thank you for watching.